the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
Mr. Hughes, thank you so much for coming on to the show. It's an honor to talk to you. I'm Brendan Gagan. We're just going to introduce ourselves.
I'm Devon Alsman.
And I'm Johnny Klumpy.
And we have a couple things that we would like to ask you. But first, the big thing is we kind of want to wonder what got you into the business in the first place. Obviously, you have an incredible record with announcing, especially for the Cubs, too. So what kind of got you into the business?
I fell in love with the game at a very young age, baseball, that is. I was lucky to be on a city championship team when I was 11 and 12. I played in the Colt League World Series, an all-star team when I was 16. That was a great thrill. And then I got to a certain age and I realized as much as I love the game and love playing, I'm not going to be a professional athlete. I did play 1 year of college basketball, and so I was a decent athlete, but nothing great. But I wanted to stay in the game. And my older brother, John, was taking broadcasting classes at San Jose State. And he said, why don't we try a little play-by-play? And it seemed like a dream because you know how many people want to do it and how relatively few good jobs there are. But I didn't let that bother me. I figured I'm going to give this everything I've got. And if it doesn't work out, then I'll do something else. But when I was about 19, I started focusing on doing play-by-play of every sport, mainly radio, some TV, but I did interview shows. I was a producer of a San Jose State football highlight show. Whatever I could do to learn more about the business, that's what I did. And eventually I was good enough to do play-by-play of the college sports teams on the campus station. And then I put a tape together and one thing kind of led to another. And when I was 22, I actually got paid to do a thing for the first time. But I did hundreds of games before I ever made a nickel broadcasting.
Yeah, well, those 100 games really paid off for you as you were an award recipient for the Ford C. Frick Award in 2023. Kind of describe a little bit on how much that meant to you, knowing after all the years of hard work that you've put into it?
Well, it was amazing. Ron Coomer, my great partner, was in the house. Crane Kenny, the Cubs president of business operations, he was in the house at the moment that I got the call from Cooperstown. And I am almost getting choked up just thinking about that moment. My wife was here with me. My two little dogs were jumping around. They were excited. And I got the call, and Josh Rawitch, the president of the Hall of Fame, says, Pat, you are the recipient of the Ford C. Frick Award for this year. And he said some more, you guys, but I didn't really hear a word he said. My mind started thinking back to when I was a kid. I thought about my parents who are no longer with us. I thought about my brother John, who is no longer with us, and all the people that were special when I was a kid and growing up and then becoming a broadcaster when I was in college. And it was very emotional, very sweet, but it is the best award that a broadcaster can receive in our country. And I'm so happy to be part of that group. When I was in Cooperstown, they have a museum for the writers and the broadcasters, and they have this wall where they have all the pictures of all the past recipients. When you're the award winner for a particular year, they put you right in the middle. There's your picture. And then around you are people like Harry Carey, Jack Buck, Ron Santo. Well, he was the player, but Bob Uecker, I worked with him, Jack Brickhouse and all these great pictures, Bob Costas. And then you look at yourself and you think, man, I'm in this picture. I can't even believe I'm there, but I guess it's reality. And I'm very proud of it, but it's a once in a lifetime experience just to go to Cooperstown and to receive that award.
And then, Mr. Hughes, you've also experienced another once-in-a-lifetime experience so far. In 2016, the Chicago Cubs won the World Series. What was more special for you, the Ford C. Frick Award, or what was just the most fun, or the 2016 team when they won and started jumping around 10-year-olds pretty much?
Well, that was the biggest moment of my broadcasting career. And then, as I got the call from Cooperstown, that was partly a result, I think, of the 2016 World Series and the call that we made on the final out. I've heard from people like Bob Costas and John Miller of the Giants, and John said, "Boy, that had to be tough, doing it on radio." And there was a 108-year drought, and Bob Costas says, that was your biggest moment, and you nailed it. So to hear from the guys of that stature, I must have done something right. But I remember just trying to stay calm, be true to your radio audience. I'm not a TV announcer. TV guys might have handled it differently. I don't know. You'd have to ask them. But my approach was keep your voice down, be under control. You're going to be excited. Don't worry about sounding dramatic enough. You're going to be plenty excited. The key here is to keep it down so you don't get too excited, right? Because then you would ruin the moment by having your voice go into a different octave that you wouldn't want it to be. And I didn't want to sound like an eighth grader, hysterical, making that call. So I was pleased that I was under control. I made the call, and then I said what I was going to say, and I wouldn't trade a thing. Whenever you're a live performer, you have no idea. People say, "Did you plan out the words?" I said, "No way," because a baseball game can end in 100 different ways. It can end on a strikeout, a home run, a routine ground ball to shortstop, a wild pitch, a throwing error. It can end really any number of different ways. So if you try to plan out something, that might be appropriate for certain plays, but it might be completely inappropriate for a lot of other plays. So no, I wanted to call the play, whatever I saw, put it into words, keep it under control, and then as soon as it's over, then the Chicago Cubs win the World Series. I knew I wanted to say that. And then everything else just kind of came out, and I was so proud to. I was so happy. You know what I was happy for was the millions of people, not only who are living and were living at that moment, but the other millions and millions of people who had died being Cubs fans their whole life and never did get to experience that sweet moment. So I was thinking of all of those people, past and present, and it was extremely emotional. And I think about a half hour after it was over, we did our post-game work. We went down to Joe Madden's office. He gave us a big hug. Anthony Rizzo was one of the first people we saw. He gave Coomer and me a big hug, and so did Chris Bryant and Ben Zobrist and Kyle Schwarber. And it was it was like a magic. It was like something out of a dream that you just can't even put into words. But it was very, very special, and it's an experience I would not trade for anything in the world.
Well, yeah, it was awesome, Mr. Hughes. I am a Cubs fan myself, and I know I was definitely screaming like an eighth grader when the Cubs won the World Series. So you're definitely better than I am in that regard. But we wanted to ask you, what was going through your head when Rajai Davis hit that game-tying homer in the 8th inning of that Game 7?
Well, I wasn't happy. I was definitely not happy, but I'm a competitor. Again, I was an athlete growing up. Had we fallen behind, say it was a 3-run homer and it gave them a 2-run lead, then I would have been sick to my stomach. But I'm a competitor, and okay, they've tied the game. All right, game on. Game on. I'm not worried. We have a good team. We have a good offense, and I knew that the Indians were starting to run out of good pitchers. They went right down the list. Terry Francona used the starter, Corey Kluber. He brought in Andrew Miller. Then he brought in the closer. They were done. Those guys had all been used, and I knew that once you got deeper into their bullpen with our offense that the Cubs had, I knew we could score some runs. And that's exactly what we did in the 10th inning. A nice little rally. Then Zobrist had the big double to drive in the go-ahead run. Miguel Montero drove in the insurance run, and it turned out to be the winning run, the insurance run. So don't ever underestimate the importance of getting an insurance tally. But I wasn't happy, but you know what? It's the 7th game of the World Series. The Indians were a good team. I know they're called the Guardians now, but they were the Indians at that time. And respectfully, you're saying, hey, yeah, they came back. That's what they're supposed to do. They're a good team. They were the best team in the American League. I respect that. game on. So that's kind of the feeling that I had. I didn't think, oh, here we go again, we're going to lose. No, I don't go there. I don't go there. If anybody else does, that's your business. But when the game is tied and it's the eighth inning and you're in Game 7 of the World Series, to me that is no time to give up.
And then now the Cubs we're in 2025, and Kyle Tucker's joined this team. He's going to be here for at least 1 year. How do you see this team right now and compared to past years?
I like the team. I really do. We have a lot of good elements. You mentioned Kyle Tucker. He's a good ball player. He's been in a little bit of a slump here of late, but it happens. Guys, they get hot, they get cold. It's a long, long season. If you play every day and you hit near the top of the order, you're going to bat 700 times. You're going to come to the plate if you stay healthy and you play every day. So, you can't expect a guy to be blazing hot all the time. There are guys on the other side pitching. You got to remember, they're big leaguers too. So whatever success you have, you enjoy it. You hope that the guys who have a track record of success continue that, and you hope that they all do it, in the same season. That's kind of what it took to win in 2016, and that's still what it takes now. You need a little bit of something from every guy on your team. You need guys to get clutch hits. You need guys to make a spot start. You need bullpen guys to come up big in an extra inning game. You need guys to come off the bench and play for a day or two because your star players are hurt. It takes a village, as they say, right? You need a little bit of something from every single guy. But I like this team. I really do. I'm a little disappointed about the way we slumped and did not win last night. I thought we had a good chance to sweep a mediocre team like Miami at Wrigley, but it didn't happen. But again, they pitched well, so give them the respect. They're big leaguers too. And even though teams are really bad and at the bottom of the standings, you have to remember, even the worst teams like Colorado and the White Sox last year, the Cubs struggled to beat the White Sox last year. If you remember the 4-game series, the Cubs had to rally to win, I think, 3 of them. And Colorado, they're bad this year, but they've got professional players. They know how to hit. They know how to pitch. They know how to field. They know how to run bases. They probably were the best players in their neighborhoods and in their schools and in their counties when they were growing up. So nothing is easy in big league ball, but I like this year's Cubs team. I do.
Yeah, well, Mr. Hughes, we want to thank you for coming on. We know you're a busy man and you got a lot on your plate, especially with being that it's midseason. And we all hope the Cubs can continue winning games and appreciate your time. Thank you for telling all the stories.
Well, you're welcome. Devon, Jonny, and Brendan, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, it was my pleasure. Those were good questions. Stay at it. Keep working. Keep broadcasting. Keep reading and learning about the game. If you're an athlete, keep playing it. Read books, though. Read the history of the game. If you want to continue on and be a baseball announcer, that's what it takes.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Hughes. And just in case you ever need a day off, you can call one of the 3 of us to maybe call one of those games for you. Obviously, just joking around. But thank you so much.
No.
It means so much to the 3 of us for you to take even 15 minutes out of your day. You're a very busy guy to just answer some of our questions that we had for you.
Happy to do it, guys. Good luck to all of you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.